Rome, April 1947. A man sits on a bench, clutching a dagger in his hands. Engraved on its blade are three chilling words: "Death to the Pope." This man is no ordinary madman. He is a war veteran, a fanatical activist who has sworn to destroy the Catholic Church from within. But what is about to happen in just a few minutes will not only change his life forever, it will reveal a secret about the future of humanity that the Vatican has sought to understand for decades. Today, we explore the story of Bruno Cornacchiola, the man who set out with a blade to take the Pope's life, only to receive a divine message for all of mankind. The warnings entrusted to Bruno by the Virgin Mary in that cave shed an unexpected light on the challenges and profound uncertainties we face today. Bruno Cornacchiola was a violent man, a staunch communist who had fought in the Spanish Civil War. There, he had been indoctrinated by a German soldier who instilled in him a visceral hatred for the papacy. Upon his return to Rome, Bruno would beat his wife for her Catholic faith and burn sacred images in their home. He had planned everything. The dagger was ready, and his target was Pope Pius XII. But on April 12, 1947, destiny decided to veer off course. Bruno took his three children for an outing to Tre Fontane, the site where, according to tradition, St. Paul was beheaded. While the children played ball, he sat in the shade of the eucalyptus trees to prepare a speech against the Virgin Mary. Suddenly, silence. The children vanish. Bruno calls out, runs to find them, and discovers them in front of a dark cave, a foul-smelling dumping ground. His children are on their knees, hands joined, eyes fixed on the void. They cry out, "Beautiful lady! Beautiful lady!" Bruno is furious, thinking it's a prank, but when he tries to lift them, they are as heavy as boulders. In that moment, the darkness of the cave is shattered by a blinding light. Bruno smells an intense fragrance of flowers and sees a woman. She is not like the church statues he so despised. She wears a green mantle, a white dress, and clutches a book to her chest. Her first words are a blow to his heart. "I am she who is in the divine Trinity. I am the Virgin of Revelation. You persecute me. Now it is enough. Return to the holy fold." In an hour-long secret conversation, Mary instructed Bruno on the truths of the faith he had trampled upon. But it was more than a catechism lesson. Mary entrusted him with secrets, messages destined for the Pope, and messages for the entire world. And here, dear brothers and sisters, things become unsettling. Because what Bruno wrote in his diaries, kept secret for years, describes with surgical precision the crisis that the Church and the world are facing at this very moment. Bruno Cornacchiola continued to receive messages throughout his life, until his death in 2001. The prophecies in his diaries speak of a great apostasy. Mary warned Bruno, "The church will be left a widow by her ministers. The flock will be scattered. Many pastors will betray the faith." But there is a detail that makes the blood run cold. Bruno spoke of a time when the powers of evil would take the upper hand and Rome would be struck hard. In a vision, Bruno described the Vatican under attack and blood flowing on the steps of St. Peter's. He spoke explicitly of a threat coming from the East, an ideological and physical attack that would bring desolation. Is it possible that Bruno foresaw the geopolitical and religious tensions we see exploding today at the borders of Europe? But how can we be certain that Bruno's words weren't just the visions of a tormented man? To give weight to such grave warnings, heaven seems to have chosen to manifest itself with a public and clamorous sign, confirming that the clock of prophecy had begun to tick. Many believe the miracle of the sun only happened at Fatima. But that is not the case. On April 12, 1980, on the 33rd anniversary of the Apparition, thousands of people gathered at Tre Fontane, and right there, in front of that very same cave, they saw the sun rotate, change colors, and pulse, exactly as it had in Portugal. But before these celestial signs manifested before thousands, Bruno had to complete the final act of his conversion. To give credibility to those grave messages, he had to face his past and surrender the weapon he carried that day at the cave. This brings us to what remains perhaps the most moving and documented moment of the entire story: the face-to-face encounter between the assassin and his victim. In 1949, Bruno was received in an audience by Pope Pius XII. Before everyone, the man who once spat on the church knelt, pulled out the dagger intended to kill the pontiff, and handed it to him, weeping. Yet, there is a secret within the secret that explains the supernatural calm with which Pius XII welcomed Bruno. To understand it, we must go back years, to Germany, when the future pope was still a nuncio. There, he met Teresa Neumann, the mystic with the stigmata who lived on the Eucharist alone. Teresa did not give him a simple prediction. She sought to arm his soul for the battles ahead. She revealed that he would become the pope of a destructive war, and that his papacy would be a long Golgotha. But above all, she warned him that the devil hated him so much that he was preparing an assassin to strike him at his heart. Why did she tell him this? To reassure him that, despite the wolves surrounding him, an invisible hand would deflect the blow. The arm raised to strike you will fall before the power of Mary. Teresa wanted Pius XII to know that his executioner would become his greatest trophy of mercy. That is why, in 1949, the Pope did not call the guards. He knew this meeting had been written in heaven for years. Bruno knelt and said, "Father, this is the dagger I intended to kill you with. I ask for your forgiveness." Pius XII welcomed him with an almost relieved smile, like one seeing a divine promise finally fulfilled. He placed his hand on Bruno's head and said, "My son, with this, you would have only given the Church a new martyr and a new pope." That very dagger is preserved today in the Vatican, a perennial reminder that no man is ever too far from God's grace. But before leaving, Bruno handed the Pope an envelope. It contained the third secret of Tre Fontane. But what did that message truly say? That envelope, kept today in the secret archives of the Vatican, is not a simple message of hope, but a raw warning about what Bruno called the Good Friday of humanity. In his diaries, published only recently, Bruno describes visions of a church wounded from within, speaking of an apostasy that would strike the very top of the clergy, a time when confusion would be so great that truth would become false and falsehood would become true. The secret also touches on terrifying geopolitical nerves. Mary reportedly showed him images of a Rome engulfed in flames and a global conflict breaking out suddenly, explicitly mentioning Eastern powers marching toward the West. Many wonder if Bruno left a specific date, and if the Vatican knows when all this will happen. We do not know if there is a precise day or year in his writings, but we do know that everything will be revealed through a sequence of signs. Bruno implied that the popes are aware of these details, but that the final signal for us would be a sudden event capable of shaking the very foundations of Rome. According to these revelations, when you see confusion entering the temple and the world forgetting natural laws, you will know that this Good Friday is not far off. The story of Bruno Cornacchiola leaves us with an uncomfortable question. Are we the generation that will see the fulfillment of these prophecies? At Tre Fontane today, there is an inscription. In this cave appeared the Mother of God. She invites us to prayer and penance for the salvation of the world. Brothers and sisters, this is not a message of terror, but of extreme hope. If a man full of hatred like Bruno could be transformed into an apostle of peace, then there is hope for each of us, and perhaps for the entire world. The Virgin of Revelation has given us our weapons, the Bible and the Rosary. It is up to us to decide whether to take them up or wait for the darkness to arrive. Dear brothers and sisters, what you have heard today is only the tip of the iceberg of a mystery the Vatican has guarded for decades. Did you know the story of Bruno Cornacchiola or the incredible connection with Teresa Neumann? Which of the signs we discussed inspires you the most? Tell us in the comments below. And if you want to support our work, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. May God bless you and protect you.